Vanguard rides again. Now you may be wondering why I'm sitting here with this mic in my face like a old school talk show host. Well, I lost my bag a few days ago. We were doing like these interviews and I left my bag somewhere and I guess some crackhead took it or something. Because it was in this place called Washington Square Park and it's kind of a sketchy area. It depends. Anyways, recently I have been trying to escape working jobs that I hate. And when I say that, I don't mean never working or never working jobs that I hate. I wanted to stop myself from dedicating so much time and energy towards jobs that I hate or jobs that I don't want to do more so. And so far, it's been working out. I guess I've been far more peaceful and happier than before since I quit the last job that I did not like and started putting more time towards getting a job requiring less mental bandwidth and less energy. But that doesn't mean the process hasn't been without its own obstacles. And one of these obstacles I encountered the other day. Now, the last time I ever held a direct sales job, I was like 19. And direct sales jobs, so you have, I guess it's kind of like cold calling. And cold calling is the idea of calling people and trying to sell them a project. And I haven't done that before. I've done something similar, but it was like in regards to, it was kind of like prospecting. It was prospecting, but I would call for the regards of finding people housing. I was like a housing assistant or a housing specialist or whatever the hell they call that damn thing. That was years ago. And this, you have door to door, which is going to houses and pitching. First, you have to let the person let you in if it's that kind of sale where you got to show them something, or you got to pitch them at their door, right? And then you have business to business, which you go to businesses and you try to sell a project, right? And then there is approaching random people on the street trying to get them to do something or buy something. And I had a job offer like that a few days ago. And I went in to do it, right? Because, I didn't have anything better to do. And I was like, okay, maybe I can make some quick cash here before I, move on to whatever job the main job I'm trying to apply for. I was like, in the space between, and I have some work coming up anyway. I was like, in the space between, I'll do this for a little bit. Why not? Right there. It was paid training. That's what they said, right? So I go there, and the first thing that happens that is really weird and makes this seem like a very bad idea and a sketchy endeavor to begin with is I arrive at the place that they told me to arrive at, right? And they even gave me a floor. They're like, it's on the fourth floor. I get there, I mention the business that I'm there to meet with, and I'm told the business doesn't exist, or at least the security guard is like, yeah, I don't know who that is, and since it's a Saturday, all these businesses are closed. So he's like, I don't know who told you to come here, but yeah, you can't get in, and you're just gonna have to wait here. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. I'm like, okay, maybe there's an explanation here. I give him a quick call. I'm calling on the phone, no answer. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Call again, no answer. Like, okay, what? Third time's the charm, right? I call the third time, and finally, there's an answer. And I'm told that I guess there was a miscommunication somewhere. And we're not going to be meeting in the area we were meeting. We're going to be meeting in Brooklyn, which, to give you context, they told me to meet at one place, right? And then told me to meet somewhere else, like 10 miles away. So it's like, what? What? you know? So, at least they decided they're going to send me a lift. So I'm like, okay. Because in my head, I'm thinking, if they wanted me to travel to this place after they told me to come here, I'm going to say no. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to work for me. And I'll just go back home, right? And my friend, I was thinking about him because he's hilarious. If this were to happen to him, he probably would have drove away the moment. He would, because he has a car. He would have hopped in his car, took his ass back home. The moment he got there and he was told the business doesn't exist, he'd be like, yeah, no. but I have a lot more patience than him. So, anyways, there's another guy with me, a comedian. He's cool. He's probably one of the only good things that came out of this, that I met him. So, anyways, we get into this car, go to Brooklyn, and we meet the rest of the people. And this is where it goes from it goes from bad to worse, I guess, because like these people were just, I don't know, man. They were just some strange individuals, and I guess you meet a lot of strange individuals in general in sales, but it's like there was one guy, and he was like toxic positivity if it was a word. Like, even I mean, if it was a person, you know, it's just one of the most forced cheerfulness kind of things ever, and you can feel the sneer and snideness just radiating from underneath all that cheer, and just like, it's like, wow, this guy is an asshole. Like, I can feel it, and he would just like, he kept saying these like very passive aggressive things, like very passive aggressive threats, and then, you know, later when I was training with one of the people, they look at me and they go like, the guy, right? We're not gonna mention his real name. I'd say his name was Clyde, right? The guy, the lead or whatever, Clyde. She's like, yeah, Clyde, he's kind of an asshole. I'm like, what? Because I'm taken aback. This is the first time I'm meeting this woman, and she's like my trainer. And the first thing she tells me is, the guy that we're all taking our orders from, he's an asshole. She's like, yeah, he's okay, but he was promoted into team lead, and now he's kind of an asshole. I'm just like, okay, right? Then there's this other woman, and I don't know, there was something going on with her too. Like, maybe she has some mental health thing, and me talking about it now makes me an asshole, but it's like she had no facial expressions. Like, I don't know, it's like she wasn't there. Like, there was a very suicide girl. Oh shit, I just set off the alarm bell. This video is gonna be like unlisted or some shit. Anyways, she had like that kind of face. Like, I don't know, man. Like, she just didn't seem all there. And like, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, anyways, we go around in a little circle. We gotta do introductions, of course. Pronouns come up, and I almost want to laugh, but I don't. Right? I say my pronouns, I'm like he, him, blah blah blah. Some other girl accidentally screws up and says her pronouns are he, she, and she starts laughing. You look over at Clyde and the other one; they're just like they're mad. Like, it's like she didn't do it on purpose, but I guess in their head they're like, maybe she did it on purpose. And then, I'm like looking over at this like engraving on the wall, and I'm reading it, right? I don't know. I like reading, so I'm reading this engraving on the wall, and Clyde, I guess, gets bothered by it. And Clyde's like, hey, excuse me. Well, you see, we're gonna need you to pay attention, because you see, we just want to offer everyone respect and to pay attention to someone as they're talking. And I'm like, oh, I was just reading that thing. It was no big deal. I was about to. And he's like, yeah, I get it, but we're gonna. And that's the annoying thing about these kind of people. They cut you off as you're explaining something and go, yeah, I get it. Like, they can see the fucking future. I encounter people like this a lot. So just something annoying I noticed. Like, you'll be trying to explain or add context to something, and they'll cut you off like, yeah, I get it, even though you didn't finish your sentence. Like, so you didn't get it. You don't even know what I was gonna say. You just cut me off for no reason. Whatever. Anyways, Clyde gives it to me for oh Jesus, phrasing, I guess. Anyways, Clyde is I was gonna say tearing into me, and that's even worse. But Clyde is, Jesus Christ, laying it on me is also bad. There's no way to get around this, so I'm just gonna continue. Clyde is laying it on me for reading that engraving on the wall. Whatever. We move on, and then as we're doing the training, this is where things get really weird, because it's like, so this is something that none of us are very experienced with. And if you're going to be training someone to do, like, we'll call it cold approaching, you're just walking up to random people doing something, it's probably not a good idea to just send them out there with no support. Like, sending them out there, giving them the exposure is a great idea, but doing it in a way in which you're like offering very minimal and not very substantial support is probably a bad idea. Like, there was one person there, and she was pretty good, And like the advice she was giving me was very practical and realistic, and it made sense. And I think the reason why her advice was so useful is because she was the only one there who, I guess her personality was naturally attuned to this kind of thing. She was a very talkative and bright and energetic young person. The others were just like, they had developed a forced, cheery personality that is very easy to see through, at least for me. Because I know there have been studies that sort of demonstrate that people, so when people tell you that when you communicate with others, as long as you're sincere and what's the word? There's a word that everyone always uses. What is it? Whatever. We'll say honest. Then it'll work out, right? Turns out there are studies that show people don't notice that. People don't know who's being sincere and honest and who isn't. Like they can't tell, or at least most people can't tell. Now I've always felt like I could tell, and I'm not trying to say I'm like Neo or anything. It's just I've just always been very attuned to that kind of thing, and I think it's because I'm just very obsessed with noticing these very micro expressions and shit. But I've always been able to notice when I feel like someone's not being genuine, and when someone is. So this might sound like a gift, but it's actually a curse. It makes it very hard to have meaningful relationships when every time someone is saying something to you that isn't true, you can kind of feel in the back of your mind that they're lying to you. Or when they say something, you can tell that there's more to it, that kind of thing. It makes it very hard to communicate with people. And it made my life very hard growing up. Anyways, she was very sincere, and you could tell. The others, not so much. And they were very, very performative. And I think they were so bad at it that even other people could tell they were performative, Because she mentioned that she got the best sales out of all of them. And the reason she probably got the best sales out of all of them, because I witnessed it, is because she's very friendly. And, you feel like this person actually wants to talk to you if she's talking to you. And she probably does. She seems like she has like a golden retriever kind of brain and personality about her, which isn't an insult. The others, you probably know that they're trying to sell you a product, or it's like, I don't know. Part of the genius of selling someone a product is you have to make them forget that you're selling them a product. That's the main thing. And I'm not saying this as some kind of sales expert or anything. It's just, that's like an obvious goal. That's, if you read any sales book, that's kind of like the main thing they'll talk about. So, one of the people in our group gets sent home early because I guess she isn't doing enough because they wanted us to approach people before we get into, just selling them. And I did it a few times, right? I was very low energy that day because I was tired too, so it wasn't going that well. I complimented some guy's shirt and he ignored me. But I guess she wasn't doing it enough, and they kind of sent her home. And this was the same girl who, when I was reading the engraving, as she was talking, the guy gave me shit, and in my head I'm just like, I know her better than you. We were talking the entire car ride over here. Like, I've been speaking to her for like almost 2 hours now. Like, you're the one just meeting her. But well, anyways, I digress. They sent her home, and then it just gets kind of more passive aggressive from there. Like, they're routinely mentioning how if we don't do any approaches, we might just have to send you home. It's like the way they're talking is like they're trying to sound nice, but also mean at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. But anyways, they sent us home a little early, like not really that early, but early, and tell us we have to practice our pitch. And as I'm on the train ride home with the guy that I met there, who was really cool, even got his number. He's talking about how they give him really culty vibes. And it's like, this is a thing I've noticed with a lot of these, like, sort of sales jobs. Because when I was younger, these things would prey on me and catch me all the time. They always put the job as something else that it's not. And they catch you in their maw, and then, yeah, they try to like lure you in with that culty kind of, we're a group, we're a family dynamic, and then you find out very quickly that it's all bullshit and it's not true. It's like it's like how offices try to do that whole office culture kind of thing, where they're like, we're a family, and that kind of stuff. It's like that, but on steroids. Like they have you stand in a circle, clapping and cheering and announcing your sales and that kind of thing. It's terrible. It's terrible. But yeah, that's the story of how I went out to this like job training thing, and it was a fucking nightmare. Like it was hot. I was tired, and I'm thinking in my head, wow, this is a shitty job. I can understand why you would be a mean person with a very fake, cheerful personality. If you have to perform like that all day, you have to perform like that all day, and your job sucks. You're probably holding a lot in. Anyways, Vanguard out.